Esther. 25 Bible verses about Esther. 25 Bible verses about Esther. List verse and description. Esther 4:14. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. This verse speaks of Esther's call to action, and her courage to stand up for her people despite the risk of her own life. Esther 4:16. Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. This verse speaks of Esther's willingness to put her own life on the line for her people, and her trust in God's protection. Esther 5:2. When the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court, she won favor in his sight, and he held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. This verse speaks of Esther's courage and faith in God as she put her life in danger by going before the king without being summoned. Esther 8:15. Then Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal robes of blue and white, with a large crown of gold and a robe of fine linen and purple, and the city of Susa shouted and rejoiced. This verse speaks of the joy and celebration that followed the deliverance of the Israelites from the oppression of Haman, thanks to Esther's bravery and faith. Esther 9:20. Mordecai recorded these events, and he sent letters to all the Jews throughout the provinces of King Ahasuerus, near and far. This verse speaks to the legacy of Esther's courage and faith, as her story and the story of the deliverance of the Jews spread throughout the provinces. Esther 9:29. Then Queen Esther, the daughter of Abihail, along with Mordecai the Jew, wrote with full authority to confirm this second letter about Purim. This verse speaks of Esther's leadership and authority in the writing of the decree that established the celebration of Purim. Esther 10:3. For Mordecai the Jew was second to King Ahasuerus, and he was great among the Jews and well received by the multitude of his brethren, seeking the good of his people and speaking peace to all his countrymen. This verse speaks of the respect and admiration Mordecai had for his people, as well as his commitment to their well-being, and his leadership in the community. Esther 10:17. The Jews had light and gladness, joy and honor. This verse speaks of the joy of the Jews after their deliverance from the oppression of Haman, thanks to Esther's courage. Esther 11:5. Esther said, If it pleases the king, let a decree be written that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who do the work, to bring it into the king's treasuries. This verse speaks of the generosity of Esther, who was willing to put her own wealth at risk in order to save her people. Esther 14:12. And I will give you a copy of the writing of the decree that was given in Susa to destroy them, a copy that was signed by the king and attested by the satraps, the governors, and the princes of the king's provinces. This verse speaks of the official decree that was issued in Esther's name, ensuring the deliverance of her people. Psalm 33:18-19. Behold, the eye of the Lord is on those who fear him, on those who hope in his steadfast love, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. This verse speaks of God's protection and deliverance of his people, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were delivered from the hand of Haman. Psalm 34:4. I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. This verse speaks of the power of God to protect and deliver us from our fears, a reminder of the deliverance Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. This verse speaks of God's protection and deliverance from dangers, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. This verse speaks of God's strength and help in times of fear and trial, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Isaiah 43:5. Fear not, for I am with you. I will bring your offspring from the east, and from the west I will gather you. This verse speaks of God's promise to protect and gather his people, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed, and you shall refute every tongue that rises against you in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord and their vindication from me, declares the Lord. This verse speaks of God's promise to protect and vindicate his people, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Isaiah 59:19. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him. This verse speaks of the power of God to protect and deliver his people, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. This verse speaks of the hope and future God has for his people, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Joshua 1:9, Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. This verse speaks of God's promise to be with us even in the most difficult of times, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Psalm 91:14-16, Because he holds fast to me in love, I will deliver him. I will protect him, because he knows my name. When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. This verse speaks of God's promise to protect and deliver those who put their trust in him, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Proverbs 18:10, The name of the Lord is a strong tower, the righteous man runs into it and is safe. This verse speaks of the strength and protection of God, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Psalm 34:7, The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and delivers them. This verse speaks of God's protection of those who trust in him, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Psalm 27:1, The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? This verse speaks of the strength and protection of God, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Psalm 33:20, Our soul waits for the Lord, he is our help and our shield. This verse speaks of the hope and trust we can place in God, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Psalm 46:1, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. This verse speaks of the comfort and assurance that comes from trusting in God, a reminder of the protection Esther and her people experienced when they were saved from the hand of Haman. Father, grandfather, minister, missionary, deacon, elder, author, welcome to our family. View all posts.